Why are you shooting in a different angle, Arnold? Why is this a little weird setup, an abnormal setup, Arnold? I don't know. I'm just being lazy. I didn't really want to whip up all the lights and the tripod, so I'm literally shooting by the window. And I just thought I'd try something new. A lot of construction, as always, going on around me, so please ignore that if you all can. I'll try and subdue it in the edits as much as I can. But let's talk Zenfone 9. Now, a brief history about the Zenfone. With the Zenfone 6, I think Asus came up with something that no other manufacturer was doing, a flippable camera. You did see pop-up selfie camera sometimes, but the ability to use your main camera as your selfie camera so you can monitor yourself, no one has really copied it. It was a brilliant concept, but I think they kind of lost their way midway as they kept coming up with the next generation. For example, with the Zenfone 7, they dropped the micro SD card slot, which is important for someone that vlogs themselves or shoots themselves. You need memory expansion. They dropped that. With the Zenfone 8, for some reason that was unexplainable to me, they decided to split the Zenfone line. They came up with the Zenfone 8 and the 8 Flip. Why? The 8 was a smaller form factor which had the latest chip, which had a headphone jack, but the 8 Flip, which I bought by the way, did not have the headphone jack. Why? If you have a flippable camera, you're selling it to someone who wants to shoot themselves, they would probably be using a mic. I have no idea why they did that. And with the Zenfone 9, the one that I'm shooting right now with, they've just basically dropped the flip line, the 9 Flip, if there would have been one. I think if they would just concentrate all these on one device instead of splitting the Zenfone line, it would have been a brilliant device, but here we are. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the phone. The Zenfone 9, a lot of things going well for the phone. There are a few shortcomings, but I think Asus would have had way more sales if they just kept the flip line and kept that as the main Zenfone every year instead of just splitting it last year. So let's first talk about the things that aren't going so well about the phone. One of the obvious things that could be better, and this is me nitpicking, is the bezels. There is a very pronounced chin and a forehead with a hole punch. I think if a 37,000 rupees phone like the Nothing Phone 1 can have symmetrical bezels, a company like Asus that have been in the game for so long could easily do it. And they are charging a pretty penny. It's not a cheap phone. It's roughly about 60,000 Indian rupees when you import it. So just have uniform bezels. The ergonomics of the phone are really good, but if you've gone so far to get the ergonomics so well, just have a prettier face, right? So that could be better. The selfie camera is good enough for your Zoom calls and your Teams meetings and things like that. I don't think you're going to get award-winning selfies with it. So that's one thing that could have been better. The rear camera, it's got two cameras. It's got a normal wide angle and an ultra wide. The ultra wide could have been wider. There's nothing ultra about the ultra wide. It could have been wider, so that could have been improved. And it also could be a better sensor. It's very usable in normal lit conditions, but it absolutely kind of fades off in low light conditions. The normal camera has a little bit of a trick up its sleeve. It has a gimbal, a 6-axis gimbal in the lens itself. I don't use it even when I'm vlogging because there is a significant crop when you do. So I just keep it switched off. It's not one of the reasons why you would buy the phone for that gimbal. Just had to let you know. So I just use it without the camera, and I think it could be better, the main camera. Don't get me wrong, again, I am shooting from it and I still love it. It does the job. I don't even have an external light. I'm just shooting by the window. So it does a good job. But I think you can't really compare it to the iPhones and the Samsungs of the world. I would probably go as far as and say it's as good as the Pixels, but it could be better. There was scope for improvement. Let's talk about the things that are going brilliantly for the phone. Let's first talk ergonomics. First of all, this is a sub 6-inch phone. That by itself is an anomaly, but it's not just the compact form factor that I think is brilliantly made. I think it's the whole design by itself. First of all, the back is this soft touch back. It has a bit of a grip to it like the old OnePlus phones. It has flat sides, yes, like the iPhones, but unlike the iPhones, it has got this little chamfer while the sides meet the back. And this small little detail, I think, just increases and makes the in-hand feel of the phone so beautiful. I think they've really aced it there. So good job, Asus, on ergonomics. Another thing that's really going well about the phone is haptics. Haptics are, I would say, just a little bit less better than the iPhones. A really good haptics. One of the few phones that I've kept haptics on for keyboard feedback. That says a lot. It's really good haptics. Software. I think Asus has really aced software in all its areas. For example, you can decide which camera mode you want and in what order. No other phone does that. You can decide how much of animations you want right in the setting. Here's 120 Hz screen, but if you want, you can keep it on auto or just bring it down to 60 Hz. And I kind of bring it down to 60 Hz, sometimes leave it on auto if I want to. I'm not really someone who's fussed with a high refresh screen. I rather take the battery life, which we'll get to in a bit. A lot of these settings are baked right into the settings tab. You don't have to really dig deeper. So I think software is brilliant, and they have gestures like make the pause button to pause music on your locked screen. I have a little V to put the flashlight on. I have a little W to open WhatsApp immediately. The fingerprint reader is that's another thing that they've aced. It's like at the side of the phone. I'm not bummed out it doesn't have an under display fingerprint reader, because this one is really dependable. It doubles as a swipe, so you can quickly get your notification tray as you unlock your phone. You can also customize it. For example, I've customized a double click to put the flashlight on, long press to summon Google Assistant, and all of this is literally baked straight into the settings. Not even Google has a better software experience on their Pixel line, so Asus has really nailed the software experience. And the fourth thing that I think Asus has nailed on this phone, which is quite rare with a phone of this form factor, is battery life. This is easily a 2-day phone, if not a really heavy 1-day phone. For example, I have taken screenshots where I had more than 3 hours of screen on time on a single charge, and the battery had only reached 75% after 5 hours of usage. You kind of multiply all of that by 4, you would get like 12 hours of screen on time after 20 hours of usage on one whole battery. Given I use it on 60 Hz, but that's a lot of battery life coming from a small phone. Even if you use it for 120 Hz, you're definitely going to get more than a day or more than average battery life. And it's not just battery life, this is battery life also coming together with Asus's software. It's got a 30 or 33 watt charger, so it's not the fastest, but it's good enough, still better than what iPhones do. But software wise, there's so much of battery care tips baked right into the settings. For example, you have something known as steady charge, so you can charge your phone steadily through the night if you want to. You can also have it charged at 100% at your alarm time or any other time that you stipulate. You can cap it to charge up to 80% or 90% if you want to. And every time you charge your phone and you have these switched on, you can skip it once for that time. So if you're going out and you want to charge your phone quickly, you put it to charge and it'll give you these notifications whether you want to skip this one time, and you just press skip once right there in the notifications tray, and it charges in its full speed and capacity. So things like this, I think, have made the whole experience of the Asus Zenfone 9 so great, apart from the few shortcomings that I did mention. I bought the red and black one because I'm a sucker for all things red and black. I know this is not really a comprehensive review. If you want things like specs and all of that, it's available on like GSM Arena, but I just wanted to give you a real world feel of how using the phone is. Was trying something new. But yeah, it would have been such a brilliant world if for some reason they kind of just did not split the Zenfone lineup last year. They should have just kept it together. Someone like me found a lot of value in those flippable cameras. Unfortunately, these phones are not available in India. I don't know why Asus is doing this, but if you'd like to import these phones, I will link to websites down in the description that are reputed, because I buy phones from these websites quite regularly. However, there is a high chance that you will be charged custom duties and it will be held up in Indian customs. So keep that in mind. That's a risk you're willing to take. Or else if someone's coming from the US, the UK or Dubai, just ask them to order it. Nothing like it. But if you still want to import these phones and want to take a risk with customs, I'll link the two websites down in the description. If you aren't subbed to the channel, would really appreciate a sub. I also have my social links down in the description. So I'd love it if you follow me on those platforms too. And that's it from me. Stay safe, stay sane, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. It's 89. It's my birth year.